Hello there and welcome to today's ride. It's going to be a ride of two halves today. The first half is going to be quite tough because there are three fairly major climbs, but the second half will be all downhill, and as a bonus I'll have the wind behind me. Today's ride is going to be more or less 40 kilometers along the Meon Valley to a place called Alton. Now I've just left my place and I'm halfway up the Edneys Lane climb, and from here I'll go up Scotland Lane, which is another fairly steep climb, down into the village of West Meon, another couple of climbs, and then it's pretty much all downhill with the wind behind me until we get to Alton. Now I grew up in Alton, and its claim to fame is a rather macabre grisly story, and I'll tell you more about that when we get there, but I'll warn you, it's not for the faint-hearted. That's Edneys Lane done, and that was surprisingly easy. May have something to do with the incredibly strong tailwind going up there, but equally it could have something to do with the new position that I've dialed in onto my trek. Now if you're watching last week's vlog, you'll know that I was having some issues with the bike fit on this trek. Basically it just felt like a completely different bike, even though I'd not changed anything. Since then I got all scientific on it with the use of things like plumb lines, spirit levels and tape measures, and I think I've managed to dial in the position on here now so that it is pretty much perfect. Feels really nice, and I feel like it's really helping me to kind of pedal a lot more efficiently, but I can talk about that more in another vlog to come. Okay, I'm well and truly on the climb of Scotland Lane. I'm not sure that's its real name, but that's what I call it. And it's a real toughie. 1.5 kilometers with an average gradient of about 7%. Well, that's Scotland Lane done, and a nice long fast descent into East Meon, and it's all downhill for a little while now. In the day, this valley was very well known for watercress because of the Meon River. It basically runs very clean over a chalk bed, and that's very good for watercress apparently. It's also quite good for wasabi, and they grow that here. I think they might still grow watercress here, but back in the day when they did, there was a railway line that ran from all of these villages and took the watercress up to London. And the road that we're going to be riding along today is basically running parallel with that old railway line, and they've restored part of it and it still has steam trains and stuff, and it's even called the Watercress Line. Climb number 3 or 4, and I always find this one a little bit deceptive because it's always a lot longer than I think it is. And in any case, once you get to the top, you start descending, and then you have to do a similar climb, but tougher even, all over again. Well, this is climb 4 of 4, and yeah, we're on that fairly busy A31 now, but at least once I get to the top, it will be downhill for about 20 kilometers until I get to Alton. It'll be quite a grind though to the top from here. Oh my word, that's tough. Haven't been up that one for about 2 years, and last time I did, I PR'd, but I don't think I've done that today. Didn't realise it was like 9% at the top for the last 200 metres or so. So yeah, pretty tough. But as I said earlier, this is a ride of 2 halves, and now I'm at the top, I can put it into my high gear and enjoy the 20 kilometre gentle descent into Alton. It's one of my favourites when the wind's behind me on a day like today. Absolutely love it. We're almost in Alton now, but just before we get there, and I tell you the rather macabre claim to fame, I thought I'd stop here just outside of town in the village of Chawton to tell you about something slightly nicer, and then you can finish the vlog here if you don't want to hear something a bit gruesome. I'm in the village of Chawton, and behind me is the house of Jane Austen. Now, she was a very famous author who lived here between 1807 and 1817, and she's very famous for quite a few novels, and the only one I can remember at the moment is Pride and Prejudice, and I don't know if she wrote that here or not, but she may well have done. I'm sure somebody will correct me. And yeah, as you can imagine, it's a very famous novel. I've read it, but I have to admit it doesn't really do much for me. It just struck me as a book about silly girls that just wanted to get married. But there you go, it's been turned into countless television adaptations and films and stage plays probably, and as you can imagine, the town of Alton is rightly proud of this, and I think they would rather promote this than the thing I'm just about to tell you about when we get to town. Well, here I am in the centre of Alton, and if you've ever heard yourself saying the phrase sweet FA, meaning something worthless or useless, then probably not the phrase you're thinking of, the exact one, but one similar started right here in the town. Now, like I say, it's not a particularly pleasant story, so if you are of a sensitive nature, I suggest you end your viewing here. But if you want to hear the rest, basically in 1820 an 8-year-old girl called Fanny Adams was murdered just down there behind me here. And as you can imagine, at the time it was really big news. It was an absolutely gruesome story, and basically the whole country was talking about it. At the same time, the Royal Navy down in Portsmouth, which is about 50 kilometres or so down the road, were issuing the sailors with some very bland and tasteless tinned meat rations, and they soon started joking that they were eating Sweet Fanny Adams, again meaning something worthless, tasteless, yeah, not very nice. And as you can imagine, being the Navy, it quickly spread to the rest of the world. And if you said Sweet Fanny Adams, then basically that phrase started right here in Alton. So there we go, that's my ride today, done and dusted. 42 kilometers in the bank of fitness, and yeah, I absolutely love that descent coming down from the top of that climb there at East Meehan, and I think I deserve a cup of tea in one of the local cafes here now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.